Good morning. We are starting with Noach L'Yom Sheni, Noach for Monday. We are starting in this morning's Mussar. Mussar is as follows: Tzarich adam she'yada kishehu choteh pogem beyamim ve'oto hayom malach achzari omed lekatreg alav. Chas v'shalom. Person has to know, besides for what we spoke about yesterday, what it does to our own bodies, that when a person sins, it pogem, it blemishes, it ruins that body part, but it also ruins that day. Each and every day, we could understand this concept as mystical as it sounds. It's also quite simple to understand. Every single day we will be judged for. Every single action, everything we do will be judged for at the end of our lives. So when he says that you're going to blemish that day is going to be a day which is going to come as a blemished day, come and mekatreg, chas v'shalom, come against the person, testify against the person after 120 at their final day of judgment. Ve'od, and the opposite he says, Kima sh'adam mitaken bahem, nishmato mitlabeshet bahem betzeta meha'olam. Also, when a person makes a day a good day, a successful day, a day that he did acts of kindness, a day that he learned Torah, a day that he repented, a day that he gave tzedakah, every day that he did was a successful day, that day will come and it will be good, and it will be as if you are dressing yourself with mitzvot and with merit. But the opposite is also true. Pogem bahem oto hayom nigra milbusho ve'omed lachutz bevoshet panim mitatef ke'avel ad shuvo lemutav. And the same thing is when a person makes a day the bad day. Not only does he ruin the day, but he is also now unclothed when he's going to be judged. For every day, there's a percentage of how much clothing a person will wear or not wear. And in spiritual realms, as we've explained, the part of and most of the punishment in the next world is the concept of busha, of embarrassment. Well, that could be, yeah. So here it says that when a person does do what's right and does fulfill and does do the best he could possibly do and make the day a good day, that day serves as a day that he will be clothed rather than bare. Ve'amru, then it says, I think this comes from the Zohar, Vai lehahu degara yomin le'ela. Woe to one who removes days, who subtracts days from himself for the next world. Vai le nafshe, woe to him, woe to his soul, dedainin le begehinom al inun yomin al yomin. Each and every day will we be judged for. Al chad teren vedon mikan shekevan shmanshin oto al kol yom shene yamim veyoter sheken ra'ui sheyeh hateshuvah ve'atorah ve'mitzvah al chad teren keneged hayamim shepagam. A person has to understand that he'll be punished. It says as follows, that every single day that was not done well, what it's saying is here, you'll be punished double for it. You'll be judged double for it. So a person has to understand, to do teshuvah, it's not good to do it once. It's good, but it's not the proper teshuvah. You got to do it at least twice. If you had one bad day, you have to aim for at least 2 good days following. And therefore, that will make one's full tshuva. We're not stopping. We're not interrupting. Yeah, sorry. Od pirshu hamifarshim shebeyud bet shaot hayom, that there is 12 hours in the day and 12 hours at night. Mitgalgelot yud bet tzirufei Hashem Havaya bechol sha'at tziruf echad. Each and every hour is part of the letters of God's name. So what does that mean? There's only 4. How's there 12? So when you spell it out, Yod, Vav, Dalid, Hey, Aleph, Vav, Yud, Vav, Hey, in Biminui, you'll have 12. 12 for the 12 hours of the day. Bechol sha'a tziruf echad. V'im chas shalom pogem hu pogem be'ota havaya v'hu mored badonav. So look at what's happening. Every single hour is corresponding to a part of the letters of God's name. And so we spoke about the whole day at a whole, but even each and every hour will be judged. As we said, even every action, each and every hour will be judged. And then what happens is when you do something wrong, when you commit a transgression, do something wrong, what you're doing is you are now considered mored badonav. You are contradicting, you're rebelling against your master, and you're blemishing his very own name. And therefore it's very important. It's very severe, but it's true.
how the tzirufim, how you do the 12?
By elongating Hashem's name. That's you only have 4 letters over there. When you elongate, when you spell each letter out, you'll have 12. That's only 8 letters though.
No.
Yeah, it's... Okay, you're mixing us. Next. I don't want interruptions. We have to continue. Od pirshu. Uf hachi kursaya ihi pegima mehovehon di Israel. This is also from the Zohar. The Zohar tells us that the throne, HaKadosh Baruch Hu's throne, is damaged when Bnei Israel transgresses. When we do when we're not supposed to do. V'tzarich ha'adam liro milifgom. A person has to be very careful not to want to distract, blemish HaKadosh Baruch Hu's throne. Kitzar me'apegam magia lashchina hamitlabeshet bakiseh v'hi mistaleket me'akiseh b'yota peguma. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, so to say, escapes. The Shekhinah escapes away from his throne, from his glory, which you might think is a good thing. If he gets off of his throne, means he's not judging. Opposite. It's better when he's on his throne. It's better when the Shekhinah is in his proper place, rather than him moving as a cause of our transgressions, which moves him to another place, which makes it much harder for us. ועוד שהנשמות כולן מצוירות בכיסא כמו שפירש רבי שמעון בר יוחאי בתיקונים בעניין סימני כחותם ובהיות האדם פוגם מחשיך שורש נשמה המצוירת בכיסא. We spoke about that yesterday. Okay, halacha for the day. Hechashut, this is a very important concept. The Shulchan Aruch says a very, very important thing, and this sometimes gives us into dilemmas, into going to people's houses, eating at people's houses, being a guest at someone's house, offend, not offend. It's very, very, how do we say? It's a there you go. It's a very sensitive halacha, but it still holds its ground, and as we'll see and we'll explain. Hechashud lechol devarim ha'asurim. An individual who is suspected to eat foods which are not kosher. Ben im hu chashud be'isur Torah, ben im hu chashud be'isur drabanan, en lismoch alav bahem. A person is not allowed to rely on that individual. If he says something's kosher, you're not allowed to believe him. Whether he only eats things that are not kosher from the Torah, for example, let's say things that are blood. Blood is not kosher from the Torah. Meat and milk is not kosher from the Torah. Non-kosher meat. Non-kosher dairy is also a Torah prohibition. Those are all Torah prohibitions. Or rabbinical prohibitions. For example, that's a Torah prohibition. Cleaning lettuce and everything. But let's say like a rabbinical prohibition, what we spoke about yesterday. Let's say he's chashud on eating bishul akum. He's suspected on even that. Anything that a person is not believed to eat kosher for himself or keep the own laws for himself, he cannot be believed for others. And it's an obvious concept. We might think, the person, the rabbi's coming over, they're never going to serve him something on kosher. Listen to this is so important. If a person cannot respect themselves, he cannot respect others. And others cannot respect him. It works perfectly. If a person cannot hold a certain level for himself, he's not believed to hold it for others. If you don't even care about yourself, how can you care about others? And therefore, no matter what, even though you might think the opposite's true, someone's coming, it's a family member, it's a rabbi, it's someone special, it's whatever it is, we're never going to do. No. If you don't do it for yourself, you're not believed to do it for others. Lo yochal mishelo midvarim shehu chashud alehem. Now again, it's only for the things that he is not believed to. So let's say the individual, he's suspected of eating only non-kosher cheese. So you cannot eat any dairy products
in his house.
From the, well, outside of his house is even worse.
Somebody that don't eat kosher cheese.
Right. Where are you? In the still first halacha? Again. Ve'im nitarach imo. If you're eating by him, do not eat from whatever he is suspected to eating.
In other words,
but here's a big question.
We don't cancel him totally.
No. We don't cancel him totally. And only the things that he's suspected on. But this is the big question. What about a guy that at home There's a lot of these people. Shem Yirachem. At home, everything's kosher. Restaurants, chafif, dairy. There's just no meat, Rabbi. I eat everything out, but I don't eat meat out. Everything else is a Torah prohibition as well.
You cannot trust.
Everything else is a Torah prohibition as well. You got problems with the fish, you got problems with bugs, you got problems with dairy, you got problems with everything else. So now can you eat at his house?
Based on your rules, no.
That's
it, that's the rules.
Can you, they're not my rules.
I mean, whoever you brought it over here.
So can you eat now at his house for what he's suspected to eat outside at? Bottom line? No, it's a big problem. What?
Then he makes his son bar mitzvah and he makes a party in his house and he caters. So what do you do now?
Oh, that's good. So that's a different story because
You know that he's
Because the one who's
That's
feeding
okay.
is the caterer.
yeah, it's not his food. It's not his food. But I'll just tell you. So in general, it should be fine. I'll tell you a problem. Very often, when you get catered food from a caterer, they heat up stuff in the ovens. They could use utensils from the house, so you could fall into issues over there. It's not like it's a smooth sail. It could be questionable depending on the case. But just in general, the concept is now you're eating the food of the caterer. What's the difference of eating the food of the caterer in this room or at someone's house? Well, the difference is practicality. Are they going to use that person's oven? Are they going to use that person's utensils? But in general, you're getting it from the caterer. Okay, let's move on. Bet. Look at this.
Wow.
An individual who is suspected to eat sushi out at restaurants. So now he's suspected to eat non-kosher fish, amongst other things. Even if he brings you sushi and he swears to you that it's kosher, you cannot believe him.
Because the answer is obvious.
Well, it's obvious. He's disrespecting himself. He's not keeping it himself. How could he be believed to override his own morals and beliefs?
See, not just the
belief already, he's already swore that he was going to connect to kashrut.
Exactly.
The fact that he swears again,
He's canceling himself out.
He's canceling himself out. He
Exactly.
violated one swear, why are you going to believe the second
Exactly.
swear? That's the key.
Gimel, new concept. Okay, but I just want to mention on that. If someone brings you something that's wrapped, you know how when delivery people, even non-Jewish deliveries, they wrap it with the tape from the mashgiach, from the restaurant, and then it's obvious it was not tampered with. You're allowed to eat from it. It could be it's obviously not worse than a goy, than a Gentile. So it's a very stringent, but we have to understand what the boundaries are. The boundary is that if someone that does not keep kashrut, he brings you something that is kosher, and it's obvious that it's kosher because it's bought from somewhere, it's not that it was made by him, then it would be allowed to believe him, obviously. Gimel, hakoneh me'anochri, kli seuda shel matechet או של זכוכית או כלים המצופים בעבר מבפנים, אף על פי שהם חדשים צריך להטבילם במקווה או מעיין של ממסעה. Now he's moving on to the halacha of a mikveh for kelim. He says over here, when you buy utensils from a goy, if it is metal or glass or anything that is a vessel that's lined with lead, which are all objects of material that need to be mikved, even though it's completely brand new, it needs to be brought to the mikveh. As we explained, there's two concepts with utensils. There's the kashrut aspect, meaning does it have any absorbings of non-kosher? So therefore, if it's used, you can buy a used vessel from a goy, depending on its material, but most materials could be kosherized, and then you can kosherize it and then put it into the mikveh. But here he's saying when you buy a new utensil, you still have an issue. You have to now take it from the reshut, from the dominion of the domain, better of the goyim, and bring it into ours by putting it in the mikveh, even if it's brand new. Okay.
Even if you buy it from a Jewish store.
Because everything
So wait, if it's from a Jewish store, but who made the kli?
Tamid it's China, Tamid
You don't know. So if there are certain things that you do know, let's say like kiddush cups and all that type of stuff,
If it was made by a
most
Jew,
of
doesn't require
if it was made by the Jew or the company's owned by Jews, doesn't require it. Very often kiddush cups, depending on where they're bought from, but most of the time they don't need tefillah, and even if you do put them in the mikveh, you don't do a bracha obviously on it.
You mentioned brand new. If it's not brand new, this tefillah is not enough.
I just said if it's not brand new, you need to kosherize it before you do tefillah. There's two different things. There's kosherizing and mikvehing. There's two completely. It happens to be we're talking about the same object, but it's two completely different processes and even reasons and meanings behind it. Next, Ken. They don't do that anymore.
כן, מה, יש בלוקים כאלה, שמים את זה על איזה מסמרקקים שזה מסתובב ביד, ככה שמים את זה, שזה נפרד, אחר כך שמים את האלומיניום העברית.
Very few do that anymore. They used to do that. That's why in Eretz Yisrael a lot of aluminum products have hechsheres on them to tell you for sure there's no lard spread on it. But nowadays it's quite rare. But either way, that has nothing to do with tevilat kilim, right? Next, Yivarech al tevilat kli. The bracha that we make on the immersion of a kli into the mikveh is Asher kiddushanu tatzvanu al tevilat kli. That's if you do one. V'im hem shnayim, if you do two or more, then it's al tevilat kelim. This is the Shulchan Aruch's opinion, the Ramah for Ashkenazim, and many Sephardi poskim also go to halacha that you should never really do the main bracha that was instituted was al tevilat kelim. So you should always try to bring always more than one vessel or utensil when you go to the mikveh, so in order that you don't fall into that safek, into that doubt of are you really making the proper bracha when you make al tevilat kli. So always try to bring two or more so that you're always making the main bracha of al tevilat kelim. Hey, again, the Shulchan Aruch says you have what to rely on, especially as a Sephardi. However, even the Sephardic poskim do say that it is a question if that is a valid bracha, meaning if that was the initial bracha that was instituted while they instituted this mitzvah. Hey, tzarich ladbil yedei hakli. A person has to know that when they do immerse a vessel into a kli, the handles, the whole kli in completion needs to be immersed. Now here's a question. Let's say you have a kumkum, a hot water urn. Now, first of all, does it need to be mikveh? Does it not need to be mikveh? So, out of experience, and this is a fact, even though it's electric and even though there's a plug into the wall, you'll have absolutely no issue taking that kumkum, obviously opening it, removing the lid, taking off the lid, whatever it is, and completely submerging it, including the electrical part and element of that kumkum. You will have no issue. They say don't turn it on within 24 hours, but even within a couple hours, it's fine. I'll take credit only after 24 hours. Before, that's at your own risk. But there's absolutely no problem. It's actually a chiyuv to do it. Now the question comes in, do you need to put in the cord and the plug? Does that also need to go in the water? So that's already pushing it. That's already completely not part of the kli. It's just it's a mechanism to plug it into the wall, but that's not part of the vessel. The vessel itself is the lid, the handle, the cup, the utensil, the element which is attached to it. But that cord and plug does not need to be plugged in. This rule in general works for all electrical appliances. Pop-up toasters. I've put pop-up toasters, a couple of them into the water, no problem.
And made it through, huh?
You wait 24 hours. I'll give you an example. Sukkot. Anyone who came to my sukkah, we had fans. We had 4 fans in the sukkah. They ran for 3 days straight, both holidays, and everyone knows it rained, then it rained, then it rained. There's no problem. They're not made weather. No, it's not weatherproof. It's a regular one. They're not weatherproof. They're not waterproof. But the chances of something happening is very, 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 very slight.
Microwave and stuff like that, you don't need to do.
No, microwave. The food doesn't touch it. The food. You don't even need to really microwave the plate because the food doesn't go on the plate unless you do put food on the plate. But only when food comes into contact, edible food that comes into contact with the utensils needs to be mikveh.
To do a lot of those aluminum one-time.
Aluminum one-time does not need. Here's a big misconception. Thank you for saying. Disposable utensils do not need mikveh. However, utensils which are not disposable, you're not even allowed to use them as a one-time before the mikveh. There's this big misconception that, I just bought it, I'm going to use it once before I bring it to the mikveh. And this comes from the mistake of, like a disposable utensil, then I can do this also. Disposable is not a real utensil. It's not something that's machzik. It's not something that's yesh lo ma'amad lizman. It's something which is here now. It's gone very soon. A utensil, a real utensil, needs to be mikved even from its first time. Now here's a loophole, and this could be even used for that case that we use. The next halacha talks about if one forgot to do tefillah, forgot to bring it to the mikveh. Or the same halacha is if a person does not have a mikveh around. Or if right now you're stuck and you need to use this and you do not have time to bring it to the mikveh, what do you do? For all of the above, the halacha is as follows. Im shachach velo yitpil kli me'erev Shabbat or me'erev Yom Tov, yitnenu legoy b'matana v'achar kach yishalenu imenu u'mutar lishtamesh bo. What you do is you give it to a goy. You give it to your neighbor, you give it to a friend, you give it to somebody. Here, this platter, this is yours, Mr. Goy. And then you ask him to borrow it back. If it belongs to the goy, and now it's brand new, so you know it's not kosher, so you don't have that issue, then you're allowed to borrow it back from him before you bring it to the mikveh. And then after the holiday or about your next
Then you don't
case,
have to kosherize it and mikveh?
well, you don't need to kosherize it because it's brand new. You bought it.
The guy is,
No. You
can put milk, let's say.
No. You come home from the store with a set of plates.
Right away, give it to him and borrow it right away.
There we go. You give it to him. You say, Mr. Goy, this is yours. Okay, now I need to borrow it. They don't know what's going on, right? This is yours. This belongs to you. Thank you, Avi. Okay, I need to borrow it now. Okay, fine. That's what you do. And then after the Chag, or whenever you're able to get to a mikveh, you say, hey, those plates I gave you, I need them back. He's like, okay, you took them anyways. But anyways, so keep it, and then you're able to go bring them to the mikveh. You have to make sure you ask for them back, or else they're not even yours. Then this loophole didn't work. Baruch Adonai L'olam, Amen v'Amenu. We're continuing with the